The pathway to becoming a professional actor. My name is Ian Gareth Hadfield, and I am the No Drama Acting Coach. If you like what you hear in this video, please feel free to subscribe to my channel, give it a like, and don't forget to ring the bell so that you get constant updates as to when I post new material, because this channel is jam-packed full of acting advice for new and aspiring actors. So the question is, how does one become a professional actor? And there are many pathways to this end point, but it's vitally important that you hit all of the marks in order to at least not guarantee yourself, but at least give yourself a good opportunity of achieving your goal of becoming a professional actor. For me, one of the most vital important steps is that you become a proficient actor. Nobody woke up out of bed and rolled over and said, right, I'm an actor, without having any kind of training or outside input from people who have walked that path before. Now, training can take lots of different forms, so I think it's very important that you think carefully about the pathway that you would like to go and what you can fit into our lives. Naturally, if you can get yourself into a full-time 3-year program with a Bachelor of Arts degree, that would be fantastic. However, I'm not sure that this is always the best solution for everybody with regards to training. There are many different ways that you can train, so you might want to explore those as well. And sometimes these are easier on the pocket if we still have to work to maintain ourselves whilst we are learning this craft of acting. So explore in your area whether there are acting studios or coaches or acting teachers, particularly those who specialize in teaching on-camera acting. This is a vital skill. And with all the hours of Netflix that needs to be filled up, you definitely want to improve on your on-camera acting skills. However you approach this, it's important that you always think that training is an ongoing thing for actors. We have to flex that acting muscle. And as we grow as human beings, so our need for various tools and techniques changes. As the stories that we get exposed to become richer, as we start moving towards perhaps from smaller roles towards larger roles, it's important that we not lose sight of how it is that we take that script from the page to the stage, or indeed in front of the camera. So never neglect training, and know that this is an ongoing process for you as an actor. The next problem that we have as actors who are entering the industry is that we're not visible. People don't know who we are. And when we say people, there are two distinct groups, right? We have the public. So the public certainly have never heard of you. They've never seen you on screen or on stage. So you therefore don't have an audience. And in addition to that, the industry doesn't know who you are. So the casting directors, the directors and producers may never have heard of you before. So this is definitely a struggle in how do you get that break to move towards larger roles and being seen in audition rooms. There are a number of tools that you can use to help you to get to this point, and I stress all of these, and I think that they're vitally important. The first thing that you need to do is you need to get involved as much as you can and get in front of the camera. And oftentimes this means having to offer our services for free. So for example, if you have a film school around your area, volunteer your services as an actor to help them tell their stories and to create their projects. But what we get out of this is that you will manage to get some screen time and perhaps even 1 or 2 great moments that you can then start putting towards your show reel. A show reel is essentially a series of clips of your best moments on camera that have been edited together in a very neat way, and that you can present to casting directors so that they can then decide whether they feel like you are an appropriate talent for them to see for their audition or casting. This should be an ongoing process, and as you develop more professional credits, you can begin to add more material to the show reel. But don't neglect it, because performance-based casting directors and producers and directors are going to want to see what work you have done before. It's that little bit of a catch-22 situation. When you're not volunteering your time for on-camera work, You should also get involved in your local theatre, whether it's community theatre, whether you can find a paid theatre gig. That would be great, because you're keeping yourself busy, you're keeping yourself interacting, and you're also doing the other thing that's vitally important to increase our visibility in the industry, and that is networking. So getting to know people, getting to know the producers, writers, other actors, and as you begin to create this network of people around you, you will oftentimes be able to call on them to allow you to have opportunities. This was a big thing for me as I was working as an actor, and I would suggest that probably about 60% of the jobs that I ever landed were because I knew people. I knew people who were on the team, or I had heard about the project via the grapevine, and I had said, I'm here, I'm ready to work, and so on, and you need to be in there. So networking is about getting on set, getting on stage, and also going to those opening parties, making friends, swapping email addresses, and so on and so forth, and getting out there and circulating and making people friends of the people in the industry who have already walked the path that you would like to walk. The next thing that you have to do is you have to look at practicalities of, for example, getting yourself an agent. I will be making a video at a later stage with regards to how to find an agent, how to keep your agent, and how to work with them. But an agent is not the cure-all for this acting bug. Your agent will be able to provide you with some opportunities, but it's not up to you to sit around and wait for your agent to phone you, which might be an extended period of time. And what are you doing? You're sitting staring at the walls and doing nothing. The other very practical thing that you need to do when you get together with your agent is you need them to make a resume for you, and you need decent headshots that you can put onto your resume. And this you need to update frequently and often. If you haven't added credits to your resume in the last 6 months, you're falling behind the pack. So even if it means that you need to go out and create your own work in order to add to your resume, then you need to do this. Part of the joy of networking, as I said earlier, is that you will make friends who are in a similar position to you. And I think it's very empowering for you to be able to get together with those friends and to make your own projects so that you can add to your resume, so that you can add to your showreel. So whether that is making a short film together, whether you get together and stage a play that is one of your favorites at your local theatre or in your local coffee shop, or whether you are able to go out and create some children's theatre, whether you're a great writer, you could possibly create your own writings, so write something and get it out on stage, or make a web series. There's no excuse for not creating your own work these days, so get involved. In those downtimes when things are quiet, you need to be making your own work so that you can constantly add to that CV. What happens is that as you are out and about and you're becoming more visible, both to the public and to the industry, you will find that your career starts to take traction. And that people will start to recognize you, and they will start to identify the kinds of roles that you may be appropriate for. This is a long-term process. You cannot expect that this will happen within the first 6 months of you entering the industry. It's vitally important that you keep going. That is the thing that makes the difference between separates the men from the boys and separates the cream from the curd, right? Is that the people who are willing to stick it out and to find a way through the difficult times when it feels like nobody's paying attention to you, these are the people who will finally find traction in their careers and begin to take hold and start to be offered roles that feel meaty and juicy and that they really want to get involved in those particular projects with. So the trick, 90% of the trick of being an actor is learning resilience, learning to be able to withstand the hard times. So you need to insulate yourself. Be sure that you have an income, regular income that you can rely on. So you're not waiting to pay the rent and praying that you get a job when you walk into the audition room, and therefore smelling of desperation because casting directors and directors can smell that from a mile away. You will not get the job if you're desperate. It's just a simple equation, sure as E equals MC squared. If you are desperate and need to pay the rent, you will not get the job in that audition room. And I would like to encourage you to also insulate yourself mentally and emotionally and psychologically, and know that there are going to be hard times. There are going to be times when you question yourself and whether this was a valid choice, no matter where you are in the world. But keep soldiering on, keep reminding yourself of why you do this acting thing. And ultimately, it's because we want to connect with people. We want to tell stories. And this is a vital part of what we do. And we should never forget that that's why we do what we do. So, to sum up, we need to make sure that we have great training. We need to make ourselves visible in the industry by creating our own work and by networking with people. We need to make sure that the practicalities are in place, that we have a good agent, that we have a resume that is up to date and that is constantly adding new material to it, and that you also have a show reel that is constantly generating new material so that the casting directors are not seeing the same material time and time again. Keep working, keep going. I know it's hard, but ultimately when you find that starring role and you get up on stage and accept your Academy Award, it'll all be worth it, right? I hope this video was useful to you, and I'd love you to follow along, so don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification button so that we can stay in constant contact. Happy acting!